Okay, perfect. So today we're gonna be doing the red book, the series book, which is this guy. This is the red book. All of you have one, okay? And we're gonna be doing page 51, 1 through 6. For homework, you'll be doing 2, 4, and 6 only on a sheet paper. I'll be doing 1, 3, and 5 with you right now. So like that, you'll know if you get stuck with number 2, you'll look at number 1. If you get stuck with number 4, you look at number 3. If you get stuck with number 6, you look at number 5. Or you can look at the video that we're recording at this moment, okay? Questions? Okay. So it's the same thing we were doing yesterday, the order of operations. So I have it here. I'm going to split the screen so you can see. So number 1 says, which of the expression has the same value as 6 plus 5 times 3 minus 1? So that means I have to really do 5 problems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can know which one has the same value. So let me start. Number 1. Number 1 says 6 plus 5 times 3 minus 1. Okay? Now that I copied it, I'm going to make it large so you can see better. And we have a problem that wants us to add, multiply, and subtract. So there's many operations. Yes, sir. Look, get some pen. I have pencils there in the little basket, so like that you won't waste time. Um, so what strategy do I want you to do when we have multiple operations? PEMDAS, the order of operations, right? PEMDAS. I'm gonna put my little checklist. Now, some kids don't like to do that checklist. I don't know why. That's the system that I want. That's the strategy. Use it, guys. Now, do we have any parentheses? No. So I'm going to put a check that I already checked that. Do we have exponents? No. And in case you forgot, what is an exponent? It's this guy. An exponent is the little 3 there on the right corner on the top, the little number in the corner. And what does the exponent tell you to do? It tells you to multiply the base number 1, 2, 3 to himself. So that little 3 tells me write the 4 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and multiply it to itself. That's what it tells you. Okay? So anytime that we have an exponent, the little number in the corner tells me write him 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then multiply it to itself. So for example, this one, it says 2 to the 8th power. It means to write the 2 how many times? 2 to the 8th power. 8. You're going to go 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 8 times. That's what exponents do. Well, this one doesn't have exponents, so que padre, so we can just say check. Do we have multiply and divide? Yeah, what do we have? And what is it? 5 times 3, good job. 5 times 3. So what's 5 times 3? 15. Now the purpose of the carry is so you can know what you're doing. I'm working with 5 and 3. Once you have the answer, I like to put a little box around it carefully. So like that I know that I'm already done with 5 and 3. So like that I won't bring it down again. Sometimes kids that don't put the box, they bring the 3 down again or the 5 again accidentally. By you putting the box, you know that you're done with that. And anything outside the box has to come down. So the minus 1 comes down, the plus comes down, the 6 comes down. I go back to my checklist. Do we have multiply and divide again? No. Do we have add and subtract? Yes, we have both add and subtract. So what do you do when you have both? Left to right. Good. So it's going to be 6 plus 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. So it'll be 21. I have my answer. I'm going to box carefully. The reason I'm telling you to box carefully is because I had a kid last year that did this. Let me see why I'm making a big deal about boxing carefully. Last year I had a kid, never copy red right in my class. I had a kid that did this. And when he did that, he thought that that minus was a what when he brought it down? No, but he thought that that minus was now a plus. Let me do it in black ink. Don't copy it, but just so you can see. If you go too fast, okay, he thought that it was now a plus symbol. You know what I mean? Especially when you're doing it in pencil or pen, like you could, like if I would go, it would look like a plus sign now. That minus would look like a plus because you went too messy. So be careful when there's a minus that you don't put that little box over the minus and then you think that it's now a plus sign, right? That's why I'm telling you to be careful with the little box. Okay. Who comes down now? Minus 1. And what's 21 minus 1? 20. I'm done with you. And I have simplified this to the final value. The value is 20. So question number 1, the value is 20. Now I can go back to my book now on page 51 and put there that the value is 20 nonetheless, right? So I can go here to my book and put there that the value is 20, right? So that I already know, I already found the first one, 20. But since they want me to find which one is the same value, I'm going to have to do 1A. 1A is choice A. So I'm going to do 1A. I'm going to go back to my book. Bless you. And 1A say 11 times 3. 11 times 3 minus, I mean, what? Minus 1. So choice A says 11 times 3 minus 1. Again, I'm going to do PEMDAS. And I had a student say, so I don't need PEMDAS anymore. That one is too easy. I don't care. Like, guys, most of the successful, like Chick-fil-A and Burger King, they all have a system. If you go to any Chick-fil-A in the world, they're all going to be, like Chick-fil-A is going to look the same, exactly the same, yes or no? And and if you pay attention to the ones in the back that are preparing your sandwich or your nuggets, they prepare them the same way. And that's why those companies are successful because they have a system. So I don't care how easy the order is. Use the system to make sure that you don't mess up. So parentheses, no. Exponents, no. Multiply, divide, yes. What's 11 times 3? Put a little box around this carefully, not to put it over. Bring down the 1. 33 minus 1. 32. I forgot to mention, when you're working with minus, I told you yesterday, be careful and use the rule, right? So let me go back to this guy. Who had the highest absolute value, 21 or 1? 21, so that's why it stayed positive. Who has the highest absolute value with this one? 33 or 1? 33, so that's why it stays positive. So is 1A the same value of 1? Are they the same value? No. So guess what? Letter A is out. But I'm going to go to my book and put the answer for letter A then. So I'm going to go to my book and say, okay, letter A, the value was 32, and that's why I'm getting it out. Because we're trying to find for a value of 20, right? Now you're going to do 1B by yourself, and 1C by yourself, and 1D by yourself, okay? And I'll give you 4 minutes. So I'm going to pause the recording so they won't. So you have 24 seconds, 22, to finish the last choices. And what I want to do is I'm going to show you some good papers of kids that already finished so you can see. Okay? And ya se acabó el tiempo, guys. Okay. So let me start with the first student. So here we have the first student, and he did choice B right here. You can see it. He first multiplied, very good. Then he added. The answer was 16, so he knows. And here's his checklist. Choice C is right here. Choice C, do you really need a checklist if you wanted to? Not really, because it was just one operation, but it's good that he did it. Okay? And then choice D, he added, subtracted, and then 20. So he should know that the answer is what letter? What letter is the answer? D. Okay? Now, but the system is there. This is what I expect. Just like at Burger King, they all look all the Big Macs. No, that's McDonald's, right? Just like McDonald's, it doesn't matter what franchise, but McDonald's, all the Big Macs look the same. Is it Big Mac for McDonald's or no? Okay, so all the Big Macs look the same, but maybe one of the guys that was preparing le echó un poquito más ketchup, or he was a little bit more messy. And then there's others that are very careful. They put everything nicely in the burger, right? So, but both burgers are gonna look exactly the same and taste exactly the same. That's why they're successful franchises. As a class, our work should look the same, right? So we can be successful. Our strategies, okay? So here we have this one. Now this burger is more neat, right? But it's the same thing. Look, she multiplied, and here she multiplied first and then added, and over here she added first and then subtracted, and the answer is D. She has the answer there. Of course, very good work for both of these kids. Don't forget that you should be able to transfer those answers here so you can quickly know to make sure that you have the right answer, right? So you selected D. On the teacher made that I'm gonna make, you're gonna click on D and then click finish for later, right? You don't have that teacher made yet. I just want you to show me the work, okay? Question with number one. At home, what we did with number one, you're gonna do with number what? Two, okay? But not here on a loose leaf paper. So now I'm gonna draw a line. If you have space, you can draw a line too. I have space because I didn't do the other two choices, right? If you don't have space, you can go to the back already. I don't care, okay? So now the next problem is number three. So let me check what number three wants. Number three says again, which is equivalent. That means which are equal, right? So guess what? I'm not to do all the choices again. Okay? So number three says 4 to the second power. 4 to the second power. So it has an exponent, 4 to the power of 2. Minus 9 times 2 plus 10. That's what number 4 has. Okay? Let me make it now larger so you can see better. Okay, so it has an exponent, a subtraction, a multiplication, an addition. Because of all those operations, I need to do my strategy of PEMDAS, the order of operations. Do you see any parentheses here? No. Do you see exponents here? Yes. 4 to the second power. Now, what did I tell you to always do with these? Never do them mentally. You go to the side and expand it. What does 4 to the second power really mean? 4 times 4. And what's 4 times 4? 16. So this becomes 16. Okay? I'm gonna never copy read in my class, right? I'm gonna make on purpose what mistakes kids do with exponents. So do not copy this part, but it's gonna be recorded for the video, right? So many kids, so never copy read. So many kids like to do this mistake. Instead of doing it on the side, they just want to do it mentally. So they'll go 4 times 2. This does not mean 4 times 2. This little 2 tells you to multiply the 4 twice to itself. Not, he's not a factor, he's an exponent. This guy is a factor. He's the one that's being multiplied. Okay? So just to practice, let me do another one. No, don't copy red. 2 to the third power. What does that really mean? 2 times 2 times 2. It does not mean 2 times 3. Now, here I would still do that carrot because I still get kids that they do the expanded and then they still tell me 6. If you tell me 6, you're still doing 2 times 3. You're still adding them. Repeated addition. This is not repeated addition, it's repeated multiplication. So that carrots will help you know 2 times 2 is how much? 4. And 4 times 2 is how much? 8. I have to do this still on the side, guys, because if you don't do that, your mind is going to want to do just 6. You want to go fast. 2 times 2, 4 for 2, and you start adding instead of multiplying. 4 times 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Questions with this? One more. What does that mean? 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? This guy is the exponent, and he tells you write this guy 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and multiply it to itself. That's what the little 3 tells you. It tells you write him 1, 2, 3. Multiply it to itself 3 times. To itself. Not to each other. Okay? So 3 times 3 would be 9. And 9 times 3 would be 27. Question with exponents? Never do it mentally, guys. Because if you do it mentally, you're going to be doing repeated addition. And it's really repeated multiplication. Okay? Perfect. Okay. So now that I know that 4 to the second power is 16, I'm going to bring it down. Minus 9 times 2 plus 10. Okay? Are we done with exponents? Yes. Who would be next? Multiply or divide? Do we have multiply or divide? Yeah, we have 9 times 2. What's 9 times 2? 18. Put a little box carefully around so you won't mess up that minus and call it plus now. Everything else comes down. The plus 10 comes down. The minus and the 16 comes down. Am I done with multiply and divide? You see how I always go back to the checklist to make sure? I don't just do it and then put all the checks to Mr. Rivera things that you check them out. You're supposed to use them when you're there, not after the fact. Okay, the last one is add and subtract. Do we have that? Yeah, we have add and subtract there, right? Who would go first? Subtract left to right. 16 minus 18. What's 16 minus 18? Very good. Somebody said it. Negative 2. What's the mistake that kids do always? They want to just put what? 2. Guys, if I have $16 and I lost $18, that means that I owe somebody $2 because I only have $16 to spend. The rule number 2 tells you who has the highest absolute value, 18 or 16? 18. And what type of number is 18? A negative. So this stays negative, not positive. It's rule number 2. Let me continue now. Let me box this. I won't use this anymore. Plus 10 is next. Negative 2 plus 10. What would I do with those? Negative 2 plus 10. What would I do? What rule would that be? Diff. So what would I do? Subtract. But guess what your mind is going to want you to do? Add. First period told me negative 2 plus 10. 12, sir. You owe somebody $2. Your mom gives you $10. How much money will you have now? 8. It's rule 2, guys. Rule 2. The one we call diff. And because one is negative, the other one is positive, they're different. We are going to what? Subtract. And 10 minus 2 is 8. And then who are you going to keep? The greatest absolute value. This is the rule that you should be using when they're different. And that's the rule that I use here too. They were different. But this one was simple to know that to subtract because the subtraction symbol was there. But this one, it'll throw you off and you're going to want to add because you think, oh, it's add. And you are, mathematically, you are adding, by the way. If you owe $2 somebody and you are gaining $10, now you only have 8 because you owe $2 to somebody, right? So mathematically you are adding, but the way you do it, like us, because you get confused with integers, I tell you just subtract them first and then choose the highest absolute value. 10 wins, he stays positive. So the value for number 3 is positive what? 8. Put a little bubble around number 3. I'm done. I think I can fit letter A here. 3A. Can somebody give me the plan for 3A? 4 to the power of 2, or 4 to the second power, good. Minus 9, very good, sir. Times 12, perfect. Okay, here we go. My little checklist. Do you have parentheses? No. Do you have exponents? Yes, 4 to the second power. Now, since I already did that 4 to the second power over here, I don't have to do it again. What was 4 to the second power? So yeah, you don't have to do it again because you already did it. That's working smart instead of harder, right? If I already did 4 to the second power and I know it's 16, why do it again on the side? Yeah, you already have it there. I'll put in my little box so I won't use it again. Everything else comes down. Anything that's not inside the box has to come down. Minus 9 comes down, times 12 comes down. That's why it's called simplifying the expression. Because you're making it simpler and simpler and simpler and simpler using the order of operations. Exponents? No more exponents or yes? No. Multiply, divide? Yes, 9 times 12, right? So I can go to the side. 12 times 9, 18, 108. Very good. Put a little box around carefully so you won't make that guy plus. Bring it down. Now we have finally 16 minus 108. Just by seeing that, what type of answer are we going to get? Just by seeing that, what type of answer are we going to get? We're going to get a negative because we're subtracting 108. We're subtracting more than what we have. Okay? So 108 minus 16 on the side. 8 minus 6? 2. 10 minus 1? 9. So this becomes 92. But positive or negative? Do you all know why negative or no? Because 108 has the highest absolute value and he has a minus in front. And when you have a minus in front, that means that you're really a negative situation, right? Now, is this one equivalent to the 8? No. So now I know that letter A is wrong. And by the way, we can always go put the numbers here. So I forgot to do that. So the work was 8. Letter A, we just found out it's negative what? 92. Yes? So we know that letter A is not the answer. There's my bubble right there because I don't have space anymore. I'm going to go now to the back. And I'm going to do 3B. 3B say 16 minus 9. What else does it say? Times 2. ¿Qué más? Eh? Plus 10. Thank you, sir. So they want us to subtract, multiply, and add. When they want you to do so many operations, that's why we use the order of operations. We use the strategy called PEMDAS. PEMDAS, our checklist. Do you have parentheses? Do you have exponents? Multiply, divide? Yes. What's 9 times 2? 18. Put a little box and say, I'm done with you. Everything else outside the box comes down. Plus 10, the minus, the 16 comes down. Okay? Do we have more multiply and divide? No. Add and subtract? Yes, we have both. Subtract and add. So how do I decide who's going first? 16 minus 18 because it's left to right. And what would be 16 minus 18? Negative 2. Very good. So I can go to the side. 18 minus 16, it will be 2, but because 18 has the highest absolute value, it stays negative. Everything comes down except these two because we already did it. And now we have negative 2 plus 10. What are you going to do with those again? It's root 2, right? So we now have to do root 2, which is to subtract and keep the greatest absolute value. So what's 10 minus 2? 8. And who has the greatest absolute value? 10. So it stays positive or negative? Positive. That's why those rules are so important, guys. Because now that we're using the order of operations, we still need to learn the rules. Okay? Now I'm going to go back to my choice here. And I'm going to put that choice B is what? 8. So do you think I found my answer? Yes. But a good student, which you are, will go and check the rest to make sure. Okay? So right now the answer looks like B. So I like to put question marks when I'm like, okay, I think that's the answer. Like question mark means like this is a maybe. So letter B, I'm gonna put a question mark here. I think you're the answer. Maybe you're the answer. But I'm gonna make sure by doing 3C. Now if you're taking the STAR test and you're running out of time, well just get B. If you've been very careful and have been very careful using the rules, using the checklist, doing everything the way I taught you, then yeah, go select B already. Why waste your time with C and D? But because we're practicing, I want you to waste your time with C and D today. 25 times 2 plus 10. And it's really easy, this one, so we should not take long. PEMDAS. What's 25 times 2? There was no parentheses, there was no exponents, I'm sorry. What's 25 times 2? You don't know? You go to the side. 25 times 2. 10, 4, 5. It is 50. I'm done with the multiplication. Check. Bring down the addition of 10. And what's 50 plus 10? Are we looking for a number of 60? No. So letter C, bye-bye. I can come over here to my book and say, letter C, you're out because you were worth 60. Letter D, I think I can fit them here on this corner. 3D, as long as you always put what you're doing, like circling it, I'll know what you're doing. Like, I don't like to just put the problem. Put what you're doing so I can know when I pick up your paper tomorrow. 7 times 2 plus 10. PEMDAS again. Parentheses, nothing. Exponents, nothing. Multiply, yes. What's 7 times 2? Done with you. Plus 10. What's 10 plus 14? 24. Done with you. The answer is 24. Letter D, you're out too because we're not looking for 24. We're looking for 8. So letter D gave me 24, and that's why the answer is finally B, because we're looking for something that's equivalent, which 8 and 8 are equivalent. So that's the answer. So I'm going to go to my teacher mate and click on B. The teacher mate is not ready yet. You're using it off the book. Tomorrow I'm going to make you do it on the teacher mate, okay? Now, just the way I did number 3, you're going to do number 4. Okay? Questions? So let me review your homework now before I go to the last one. I don't know if I'm going to get to do the last one, so, but it's the same thing. So your homework will be, so like that nobody says, I do not know what to do at home. And if you don't know it's being recorded, so I'm going to put it on your Google Classroom in a minute. You will do number 2 on a loose leaf paper, so you really have how many questions there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have really 5 problems to solve, okay? And I don't care if you already found the answer, I want you to practice all 5. So that's really 5 problems. Then you have the number 4. How many problems again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be careful with the exponents. Okay, go to the side and calculate carefully in the side. Okay, and then finally you're gonna do number 6. Okay, how many times there? Just one. Be careful with the minuses in case it's gonna be a negative or positive. Okay. Questions with homework? You're gonna for homework you have 2, 4, 6 on a loose leaf paper, but there's a total of 11 problems to really actually work out for me. Okay. Tomorrow when you come in, I am gonna collect tomorrow's. Like I'm not gonna like today I didn't collect it because I was helping the other class. Tomorrow I'm collecting the 6 problems, which is really 11 problems that I want to see on that paper. And how do I want to see those that paper to look like? I'll show you some more examples before we leave. You should have told me. You don't have to do the ones that we did, okay? Because it's not fair. Like I already have. It's recorded anyway. Just do 2, 4, 6, okay? So neither you, Jorge. Whenever you use your journal, ask for it back because Mr. Rivera is old and he forgets. Okay? So your homework will look like this tomorrow, but not on the journal. It'll be on the loose leaf paper. Okay? If you need loose leaf paper, stay and I give you some. Okay? So you're gonna be doing number 2 and it should look like this young lady. Okay? I can see here 1A, the 1B, 1C, 1D. I can see her work 3. 3A is right there. 3B is right here. 3C, 3D is right there. Okay? And then we didn't do number 5, but it's the same thing. It's just one prompt. Tomorrow we'll do number 5 here in the journal. Okay? So no matter what journal I get, they should look the same. That's what I was talking about. A good franchise like Burger King, Chick-fil-A, they all look kind of the same. It might be different, like messiness, because maybe she put too much lettuce, but it still looks the same and tastes the same. So here we have this kit 1A. I can follow it quickly. There's 1B, 1C. There's 1D. Um, there's 3, I think. Yeah, 3, 3A, 3B, 3C, and I don't know where 3D is. You didn't get to finish 3D? No? Okay, so she needs 3D. Here's another student. Well, this is the same one, okay? So let me get you back your journals. But basically, that's what you're gonna do at home. Any questions? Questions?